For more than 2 decades, Europe has preached about human rights, rule of law, and accountability. But when it comes to Serbia, the architect of the worst massacres in Europe since World War II, those principles suddenly disappear. Instead of justice, the European Union offers Belgrade candidate status, financial aid, diplomatic protection, and a political green light to continue destabilizing the Balkans. How can a state responsible for mass killings, ethnic cleansing, and open terrorism, a state that still refuses to recognize its genocide, be treated as a partner of democracy? This is not just hypocrisy. It is a betrayal of every victim in Bosnia, Kosovo, Croatia, and beyond. Documented massacres, from Bosnia to Kosovo, the evidence is overwhelming. Bosnia and Herzegovina, the genocide the world recognized, except Serbia. The International Court of Justice, ICJ, and the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia, ICTY, ruled conclusively. The genocide in Srebrenica was committed by Serbian forces. Over 8,000 Bosniak men and boys executed in July 1995. More than 20,000 women and children violently displaced. Mass graves still being uncovered decades later. This was not a political opinion. It was a court ruling, a legal fact. And yet, Serbia has still never officially recognized it. Instead, the Serbian state continues to celebrate war criminals, protect genocidal commanders, erase historical truth, reward nationalist propaganda on state media. Kosovo, mass graves, burned villages, and systematic cleansing. During the Kosovo War, 1998 to 1999, Serbian police, army, and paramilitary units engaged in one of the largest ethnic cleansing campaigns in modern Europe. Over 13,000 killed, mostly civilians. 20,000 Albanian women raped. 1 million Kosovars forcibly expelled. Entire towns disappeared. Villages burned. Families executed in front of their homes. Some of the most documented massacres. Massacre victims who was responsible: Erkak, 45 Albanian, civilian Serbian police, MUP. Suharica, 48 civilians, including children. Serbian forces Međa massacre: over 372 men and boys executed. Serbian paramilitaries: Krusha, Imada, over 200 civilians killed. Police and paramilitaries. United Nations investigators, NATO intelligence, OSCE monitors, and ICTY prosecutors documented all. Mass graves were later uncovered inside Serbia. Bodies secretly transported from Kosovo to hide the evidence. No democratic state can ignore this, but the European Union does. International court decisions. The world has already spoken. The ICTY convicted dozens of Serbian military and political leaders. Ratko Mladic, life sentence. Radovan Karadzic, life sentence. Slobodan Milosevic, indicted for genocide and crimes against humanity. Dozens of generals, ministers, and commanders imprisoned. These are not opinions. These are international court rulings. Yet Serbia still denies genocide, protects war criminals, erases historical truth from textbooks, funds nationalist organizations promoting hatred. How can Europe call a country a future member state when it refuses the basic pillars of Western civilization: truth, accountability, democracy? Serbia refuses to recognize genocide, and Europe pretends not to see. To this day, no official apology, no recognition of genocide, no national memorials, no punishment for state-ordered cleansing. War criminals praised as patriots. Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić was once Milosevic's propaganda minister. He is still a nationalist, still threatens neighbors, still aligns with Vladimir Putin. And yet, Brussels smiles. This is not diplomacy. This is cowardice. The EU's double standard. Democracy for some, silence for Serbia. If Kosovo arrests one corrupt mayor, Brussels demands investigations. If Bosnia speaks against separatism, the EU releases statements. If Albania changes a judge, European officials appear on television. But when Serbia smuggles weapons into Kosovo, trains paramilitaries, sends militias across borders, violates every agreement signed with the EU, the Union looks away. If any other country behaved like Serbia, the EU would impose sanctions. But Serbia is allowed to threaten peace openly and gets rewarded for it. The Banjska terror attack, Milan Radović, a wanted criminal protected by Belgrade. On September 24, 2023, armed Serbian paramilitaries crossed into Kosovo and launched a coordinated attack in the village of Banjska. A Kosovo police officer was murdered. Dozens of militants with military weapons stormed the area. Tactical equipment traced back to Serbian government supplies. And who led the attack? Milan Radović. A sanctioned criminal, a weapons trafficker, a paramilitary leader, a man under US and EU blacklists, and a political ally of President Vučić. He admitted organizing the terror attack. He planned it. He financed it. He crossed the border with weapons. Yet Serbia refused to extradite him to Kosovo. Any country that shelters terrorists is responsible for terrorism. But instead of sanctions, the EU gave Serbia candidate status and financial packages. What message does that send? Kill a police officer, no punishment. Organized terrorism, protected by the president. Destabilize the region, rewarded by Europe. If Kosovo or Bosnia had done a fraction of this, Brussels would shut their EU path instantly. Why is Serbia above the law? A state that refuses peace cannot join the European Union. Serbia still threatens its neighbors. Kosovo, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Montenegro, North Macedonia, its government, spreads war propaganda, funds criminal networks in the north of Kosovo, supports ethnic separatism in Bosnia through Dodik, rejects Western sanctions on Russia, coordinates secretly with the Kremlin. You cannot be pro-Europe while serving Moscow. You cannot ask for EU membership while attacking police and arming terrorists. You cannot claim democracy while denying genocide. Serbia should not enter the EU. It should be sanctioned. Until Serbia recognizes the genocide in Srebrenica and Kosovo, extradites Milan Radoicic and all war criminals, stops financing criminal militias, ends its alliance with Russia, accepts Kosovo's territorial integrity, removes genocidal propaganda from schools, pays reparations to victims. It deserves isolation, not integration. No EU funds, no accession talks, no political legitimacy. Because peace in the Balkans is impossible while Serbia acts like the 1990s never ended. Justice delayed is peace denied. Europe promised never again after Bosnia. Europe promised accountability after Kosovo. But promises mean nothing when criminals walk free, when terrorists are protected, when victims are forgotten. Every mother searching for a missing child is proof that genocide never ended. Every mass grave in Serbia holding bodies from Kosovo is proof of state cover-up. Every attack like Banjska is proof Serbia has not changed. If the EU continues rewarding Serbia, history will repeat itself again and again. The world must act. It is time for international sanctions, visa bans for Serbian officials, suspension of EU aid, criminal indictments for Radoicic and his network, international monitoring of Serbian weapons shipments, pressure on Belgrade to recognize genocide and crimes against humanity. Peace is not built on silence. Peace is not built on lies. Peace is not built on rewarding criminals. Conclusion: Europe's credibility is dying in the Balkans. If the EU cannot stand with victims of genocide, then what does it stand for? If the EU protects a government that shelters terrorists, then what values does it defend? If Serbia can kill, deny, threaten, destabilize, and still walk into Europe, then justice is not just weak. Justice is dead. And every victim in Kosovo and Bosnia deserves better than European hypocrisy.